Bognor!
Department of Trade Special Investigations, Lingard here. No, I'm afraid Mr. Bognor hasn't come in yet. Can I take a message?
Oh, my God.
I thought you weren't going in today. I thought you'd been fired.
I have not been fired.
Wow. Suspended, then.
Or suspended, Monica. I have been moved sideways, as they say, to paperwork, to curb my natural sense of adventure, get Department of Trade Affairs in perspective.
What sort of paperwork?
Oh, animal export licenses, cats and dogs.
Do you mind if I finish off your toast?
No, go right ahead. I think I've lost my appetite.
Oh, goodbye, Mr. Sparks. Good afternoon.
Nonsense.
Parkinson's yelling for you, and Sparks rang. Left his number.
I don't know anyone called Sparks.
You will.
Oh, there you are.
Sir?
Well, didn't you hear me call?
I was in the...
Normally take your coat, do you? Have you read the copy of Lingard's show reports I left you?
Show reports? Yes. Very impressive.
Oh, all right, Bognor. Which breed won best of show in Darjeeling last year?
A Doberman.
Fred's dead!
Here, drink this. Say again.
It's Fred. He's dead.
Oh, my God. You sure?
He's just lying in his kennel. Mrs. Potts, I just don't understand. You seemed perfectly all right earlier on.
Sit down, girl.
Don't you want to see him?
All in good time. Have some more. Here's to the greatest champion this country's ever seen. God bless him. May he rest in peace.
British dog breeders send more than 2,000 Yorkshire Terriers abroad every year. Are you impressed, Bognor? So you will understand that the Department of Trade is surprisingly interested in man's best friend. So is the British government. The place of the British dog industry in Britain's current balance of payments Bognor, please stop staring at the Queen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. It's another new one, isn't it, sir?
You've heard of quarantine? Oh. Come in, will you? We're ready for the background, Lingard. Start with the quarantine restrictions, will you?
Yes, sir. The quarantine restrictions at present in force make it impossible to fly dogs in and out of the country for very short periods.
Funnily enough, I did already know that.
So that if a breeder wanted to put one of his dogs in for a show in Tokyo or Los Angeles, he would have to kennel the dog for 6 months when it returned. Now, it should be clear from these reports that there's been an unusual rise in the standards of certain breeds in some unlikely places. And you've probably said yourself, as we have done, that's fishy.
I very much doubt it.
Oh, no, sir.
The best breed in Moscow this year, for example, was exceptionally fine. Now, we're advised that only one kennel in the world could have produced such a dog, and that is in Lincolnshire. And then we have the Chihuahuas in Montreal and Bogota. Our informants insist that these dogs could not have been produced by any of the breeders operating in those countries, let alone the ones who claim to have produced them.
Does Lingard need to go on, Bognor?
Oh, yes, sir.
You've got the picture?
Picture, sir?
An international gang is smuggling pedigree dogs in and out of the country. They are competing under assumed names in foreign shows and carrying off all the big prizes.
They're being mated with foreign dogs for improbably high stud fees, and at no time are any of them going into quarantine.
And that is where you come in, Bognor.
You're not putting me in quarantine, sir?
Much as the idea appeals to the department, Bognor, no. Carry on, Lingard.
Now, this is where Mr. Mervyn Sparks comes in. Our inside man of the Kennel Club. He used to breed Airedales. We're hoping he can point you in the right direction, give you some names. So the point is, these people aren't just breaking the law. They're costing us a fortune in lost stud fees.
But I thought I wasn't supposed to do any more, sleuthing.
Thank you, Lingard. Spade work, Bognor, that's all I want from you. Pavement bashing, interviews, you may ask questions with my blessings, and study the files. Under no circumstances will you make any attempt to apprehend the guilty parties, do you hear? Make no mistake, Bognor, we're not dealing with dog lovers. These are wily and determined smugglers.
Get Andrews to dig a grave next to the others.
What? Straight away, Mrs. Potts? Sure, Mr. Verity...
I don't want any vets sniffing around, Rose. The dog's dead and I know what caused it. I'd rather Mr. Verity didn't know anything about this. Got it?
Yes, Mrs. Potts.
Now, cheer up. You're back on the beat, aren't you? They say the Kennel Club cuisine is first rate. Pedigree championships.
Look, I don't even like dogs. In fact, I hate the creatures. One of them bit my leg, well, my trousers, in Richmond Park when I was 8. Why doesn't he send you? You've done all the work.
NMJ.
What?
Not my job, Simon. Research, that's me. The department has a team of highly trained men for investigation. Not to mention you.
Yeah, very funny.
Oh, we had a beagle once. Do you know, I used to kick it when my parents weren't around. So I'm no better qualified than you.
Really? I'm beginning to like you, Lingard.
It's a funny animal. He used to eat cowpats.
Bognor. Am I late?
I'm so sorry.
There's a set lunch for 2, Joe.
Nice dog?
It's not a dog, it's a hound. Cider for me, Bognor.
Oh,
2 ciders.
some hound bite you?
Bitch, actually. Just a scratch. Now listen. I've just heard something very remarkable which might just be relevant.
Oh?
Whately Wonderful's been found dead.
I'm awfully sorry. You'll have to explain. It means nothing.
Whately Wonderful. Dead. You've heard of Ailsa Potts?
No.
Well, I really am tempted to ask where you've been all these years, Mr. Bognor. I am really. Ailsa Potts is the country's, probably the world's, leading breeder of poodles.
Ah.
And she owns, or rather owned, a young dog called Whately Wonderful, which by all accounts is the finest poodle ever bred. A superb creature, a magnificent animal. She's already been offered 20,000 for him.
20,000?
It's monstrously hot in here, or is it me?
Excuse me, but you did say £20,000.
What? Oh, yes. Yes, it's a decent sum. Well, she wouldn't sell for that, of course. Quite right. Almost certain best of breed for Crufts. Oh, yes, the dog's worth far more to her.
Would have been.
Yes, that's right. Died this morning. One of the kennel maids telephoned me. Well, I have to keep up to date, know what's going on, that sort of thing.
And you think this dog's death might have something to do with the smuggling?
Well, I can't be certain, but it's a peculiar coincidence, all right. The circumstances are highly suspicious. I understand Mrs. Potts wouldn't have the vet in. The dog is to be buried this afternoon without a post-mortem.
Thank you. Something wrong? Mr. Sparks? So, I take it you suggest that I should see this Mrs. Potts about her dead dog.
I'm sorry?
This Mrs. Potts, perhaps you could give me her address.
Oh, yes, certainly.
Are you sure there's nothing wrong? I mean, are you feeling all right?
Yes, fine. Tuck in.
Hello, Dora Dorset here.
Hello, Your Grace, hello?
Ailsa, dear, is that you?
They've got Fred. Your Grace, are you still there?
What do you mean, they've got him?
They've killed him.
Ailsa, dear, I did warn you.
Yes, I know.
But it's no good crying over spilt milk. I'm about to lose a dog myself. You know that horrid little man Sparks, Mervyn Sparks?
Yes.
Came snooping round the other day. Kennel Club business, he said. Dandy Davina went and bit him.
Oh, good and hard, I hope.
No, as a matter of fact, Ailsa, dear, it's not all that funny. Davina's just got back from Bognor.
Bogota.
Well, I can hardly credit it myself, but she's been frothing at the mouth this morning.
Oh, no.
Yes. I'll have to have her put down right away. Too late to help poor Mr. Sparks, I fear.
Goodbye, Fred. You're a lovely dog. Oh, Fred. Oh, Fred.
Mrs. Potts, I presume. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Bognor of the Board of Trade. I do apologize for intruding like this at a moment of personal distress.
I'm Coriander accordingly. Mrs. Potts has had rather a shock, and I was going to make her a cup of tea. Perhaps you'd join us.
Thank you.
You say the Board of Trade? I thought it was called a department now.
Oh, yes, you're right. It is. It was a slip of the tongue.
But it sounds so much nicer. Bognor of the Board of Trade.
What about you? Are you a relative of the deceased? No, I mean, a friend of the dog?
I met him once. Ailsa wanted him to sit for me.
But he wouldn't.
Well, he's dead.
Tea, both of you, or would you rather have a drink?
Oh, drink, if that's...
Same here.
Oh, a Scotch brandy or tonic wine?
Scotch, please.
Well, the fact is, Coriander, I've got no one else for you to paint. Well, no one worth painting, that is. I'm sure you understand, dear.
Oh, I see. You paint dogs. They sit for you.
Oh, she's the best in the country. Best in the world, I dare say.
Thank you.
Of course, I'll pay you, dear, as we agreed.
Oh, nonsense, Mrs. Potts. I wouldn't dream of it. As soon as you have another dog like Fred, just let me know and I'll be down here in a flash.
Oh, there'll never be another dog like Fred. Young man, I think you're sitting on the seed cake.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's that cat. Oh, well, I've got some Garibaldi biscuits somewhere. Oh, Rose, time.
You're lucky to be spared the cake.
You must meet some extraordinary characters in your line of work. Is it lucrative?
Oh, you'd be surprised. Not so much the money, but the travel and the expenses. I've been all over the world painting dogs.
You like dogs, do you?
I'm afraid you found us at a very sad moment, young man. You may not realize it, but that's more than a dog that I lost today.
He was a friend.
Oh, never mind that. He was my future. I could have built a new kennel. Well, I could have built a whole new house, come to that, on the proceeds of a champion like Fred.
What about the insurance?
Oh, pennies. Phew. Well, now, you don't look to me like a young man who's come to buy a dog. Biscuit?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you look more like a cat person to me. Or even a parrot person. Do you keep parrots?
I'm here on business.
Is it VAT?
No, I have come about a dog, Mrs. Potts. As a matter of fact, it's about Wakely Wonderful.
What do you mean?
I understand that he was a young, healthy, dog. Isn't it rather unusual for a dog like that to suddenly drop dead?
Unusual? What authority have you got for asking these questions? Well, this doesn't give you any authority. It just says who you are. What do you think, Coriander?
I don't think it gives Mr. Bognor any authority, Ailsa. But in view of who he is, I think one ought to give him every possible assistance.
Parkinson? Said who?
St. Wilfrid's. The hospital. I believe you know Mr. Mervyn Sparks. The gentleman arrived here a short while ago complaining of dizzy spells.
Did he? Well, what's that got to do with me?
He asked me to phone you, Mr. Parkinson. I understand he has some information to impart to you. Confidential information.
Well, why can't he phone me then? What's wrong with him?
I think it's hydro...
You think it's what?
So, you're satisfied that the dog died of natural causes?
Absolutely. Now, come to the point, young man. What's all this in aid of?
Very well. I am investigating a dog smuggling ring, and an informant has suggested that there might possibly be some connection between the sudden death of your dog and the,
Don't be ridiculous. How could there be? What are you talking about? What informant?
Ah, Mrs. Potts.
And how did you know my dog was dead? He only died this morning. How could you?
Oh, never mind how. We at the Board of Trade...
Department.
Oh, thank you.
I don't care who you are. You've got no right to come here making accusations.
I am not making accusations. I'm just acting, as we must, on information received. I'm asking as much as anything for your help.
My help?
Certainly. I mean, for a start, is this smuggling business feasible, would you say? For instance, if you could have taken Whately Wonderful to foreign shows and mated him with foreign dogs...
Bitches.
Yes. Would that have made much difference to you financially?
Oh, of course.
But it wouldn't be practical?
No.
Why not?
Well, quarantine mainly, but other countries have their own regulations.
Has anyone mentioned anything to you about this dog smuggling business? No one's approached you in any way?
Oh.
You sure?
Oh, absolutely. Tomfoolery.
Well, all right then.
I travel about an awful lot, and I just don't see how it could be done. Customs are jolly strict.
Well, if you can smuggle arms and illegal immigrants, you can presumably smuggle dogs. I mean, you could put a little dog in a handbag.
Oh, Mr. Bognor, I thought you were being serious. Now, I really must be getting back to town. I don't suppose you could give me a lift to the station, could you?
Well, if either of you do hear anything about this dog smuggling business, I would be grateful if you let me know.
Oh, God, it's you.
What about thank God it's you?
Oh, yes, sorry. I was in the middle of deepest Transylvania, where boys are boys and men are wolves.
I should be reading this.
I'm in the middle of it, Simon.
No, it's research, as it were. I've been put onto a dog smuggling affair. Hey, perhaps that's how they do it. They smuggle them in as people.
What?
I met a likely pair this afternoon.
Dog smugglers? Thought you'd been confined to your desk.
Oh, you can't keep a good man down. One of them weighed 21 stone. Oh, she's really a St. Bernard, or even 2. And then there was this girl.
Girl?
Woman, who claimed to earn her living painting dogs.
I see. You've been having a lovely time.
Oh, it's all nonsense, actually. Cooked up in the fever of Parkinson's brain. Hello, Dog Snatchers Anonymous.
Bognor, is that you?
Oh, yes, I'm afraid it is.
Why aren't you here?
Well, it's after 6 o'clock, sir. The thing is, I have been busy asking questions.
Don't you even know what's happened? Well, it's Sparks, man. He's gone down with rabies.
But I had lunch with him.
Bognor, I want you round at St. Wolfred's right away.
What's wrong? Simon?
Rabies. Is it contagious?
What?
Can you give it to people?
Only if you bite them.